Friendo, Steve here.
Hello, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking WWE Crown Jewel, where the first Crown Jewel champions have been crowned in, I think, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it was Riyadh, and that's where the belts are staying, too.
Yeah, they're going to be at the WWE Experience if anybody is going to Riyadh and wants to visit the actual Crown Jewel Championships. The champions are getting rings, though.
Yeah.
And the first champions are Liv Morgan and Cody Rhodes, exactly the opposite of who we predicted.
Well, that was before we watched SmackDown, but if you watch SmackDown, the go-home math telegraphed exactly who was going to win those two matches, because on SmackDown, the show ended with Gunther choking out Cody.
It did.
With a bunch of security and refs and producers and such unable to release Gunther's grasp.
Yeah, it was so strong. Cody escaped with one of them deals where he does the back roll and he's pinning the thing.
I can't stand that.
He was in the choke submission, and then he did a backflip thing.
Just like Jack Perry did to Shibata. We've seen it a lot of times, and much like the Jack Perry Shibata one, this one is especially infuriating because Gunther's supposed to be the ring general. It's like, Shibata's the wrestler.
Yeah.
He shouldn't get caught with that. Gunther's a ring general. Shouldn't get caught with that. It's a real thing. The other thing is, a really easy thing to get out of is, all you gotta do is release the sleeper and kick out.
Well, no.
And Gunther starts kicking his legs like he's stuck.
Look, man, look. I'm no ring general. You're no ring general. What do we know? The bottom line is the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes proved that he is no secondary champion. In fact, Gunther is the secondary champion at WWE. The undisputed champion, Cody Rhodes, is your winner.
Also, go home math on SmackDown. Liv got hit with the Annihilator earlier in the show to open the show.
That was a weirdly short, completely wildly overbooked mess of a match. I did appreciate Nia Jax's selling of the Oblivion. She did the whole flip thing. But yeah, I don't know. It was a fun pay-per-view. It was a fun premium live event, whatever you want to call it. They pushed on a couple things. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. You know, you and I were talking about this particular show, and given that there were 7 matches on the card, I think I brought up the possibility of one of these matches just not happening. Given that Seth and Bronson Reed was sort of the feud right now where that seemed likely-est because they just start fighting instead of actually having a match.
The whole feud is mayhem, destruction, chaos, and that would fit into the theme of their feud. It almost seemed like we were getting that.
Yeah.
Instead, they went with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton with the no match. Match got thrown out, therefore never exists. Never happened. No one won or lost. Because the match never existed.
Well.
Didn't.
Continue on, please.
So, anyways. Yeah, that was an interesting choice considering. And here's another thing about that too, especially, is with Triple H saying to Randy, hey, I'm afraid of what Kevin Owens is going to do to you. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like Kevin Owens just utterly annihilated Randy Orton to like an uncomfortable degree, which would reinforce what Triple H was saying. I mean, like, it ended with Orton hitting an RKO on Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
So it wasn't exactly like, all right, Orton has to realize this is a different Kevin Owens I'm facing. Triple H is right. This is going to be a tough battle for me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they did the elbow drop through the table thing on the outside. So they did take it to.
Oh, that's right. That was after that. Yeah.
Yeah, they did, they took it to that next level. Look, I'll never complain about, this feud is like, this can't be contained by a simple wrestling match. I mean, maybe they should have done a thing where Triple H, understanding the nature of things, should have been like, hey, listen, if you're going to do this is going to get out of control. So we're going to make a special stipulation just to start here. Instead, it was like, okay, you can have this match. And yeah, the match never actually happened. But we did get this feud sort of kicked up to another notch. Obviously, they're going to keep on going at it until I'm assuming at Survivor Series. Let me ask you them. We were sort of assuming that the next thing for Kevin Owens would be Cody Rhodes. Is it possible the next thing for Kevin Owens is Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in a triple threat at Survivor Series?
Maybe. So last night on SmackDown, there was that backstage bit where Orton was staring at or talking to Cody. I think Cody was tying his boots or something up, and Orton looks back and sees the title. And, every time Orton sees that title, he's transfixed by it for a moment.
How do you get from there? Because he's been doing this for a long time. How do you get from there to roping Cody in for a match? Because Randy, on the surface, he might, understand I want that at some point. But him and Cody are cool.
Patronizing Cody. You can go to Randy and go, Randy, I see you have your hands full with Kevin Owens. I think Triple H is right. This is different Kevin Owens. I don't know if you can handle dealing with this Kevin Owens by yourself. Let me help you fend off Kevin Owens. And Randy Orton's like, hold up. I'm the Viper. I can handle Kevin Owens myself. And
Cody could say, no, you can't, because look what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Cody just puts himself into this
right.
beef. And Orton's like, I'm the Viper.
Right.
14-time world champion.
Yeah, but the thing, like, Randy would probably be like, you're right, Cody.
No, because he wasn't, on with Triple H, he was like, whatever, but let me settle it in the ring.
Mm-hmm, yeah, right.
Orton wants to settle it.
Yeah.
They
did. Okay, like, can you take anything from their backstage segment on SmackDown when, Cody's like, hey, save some for me, and Randy's like, no promises. Could Cody approach Randy and be like, I thought you were going to save some for me?
Well, it's like, he could say instead, well, you saved all of Kevin Owens for me.
Randy's like, I want a match with you now.
Yeah, so it feels like to be something like that where you get patronizing Cody, where Cody's trying to be, hey, I'm a really good dude.
Yeah.
Like with Kevin Owens, when he gave Kevin Owens a title opportunity, it ends up just being totally patronizing.
Now, listen, I'm looking at Cody on my screen right now. They're doing a backstage segment. Triple H is talking to Cody, making him laugh. I don't know what he's saying. But Cody's got this giant, ridiculous championship. What if
it's humongous.
On SmackDown, because I don't think they're still going to be in Saudi Arabia by SmackDown.
This Raw is going to be in Saudi Arabia.
So you pre-film a segment earlier this week or whatever, and Cody's like, Randy, look at the size of this thing. Isn't it amazing? This is so great. This is so awesome that I won this. I won my match. What happened to your match? It didn't even happen. There was no match. And Randy's
your match
like,
never even existed.
He's like, the match. He's like, look, Cody, there was a concept of a match, but it didn't actually happen. Nobody won that match. And Cody's like, yeah, boy, must suck to be you. And then that gets Randy mad. There's a number of ways you can do this by Cody being a dick. I like them all. I think they're great. Oh, they got the rings out now. That's cool.
Yeah, I think. How huge are the rings? Are they in fact Super Bowl ring size, like championship ring size?
It's pretty big.
All right.
It's pretty big. Yeah, it's pretty big. I don't know about Super Bowl size, but Liv's is pretty big.
I feel like to a degree, though, we're kind of burying the lead. I know the men's crown jewel match main evented. In terms of story beats, though, Bloodline Saga.
The Saga.
We had Sami Zayn make an appearance after Solo pinned Roman Reigns. You heard that right?
Yeah.
And not even a ton of interference from Bad Bloodline. We had a rough bump, a really creative one.
Yeah.
That led to like kind of a little bit of a wonk ending, but it was a couple spikes and a pin from Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, after Bad Bloodline is beating up OG Bloodline, Sami Zayn comes to the ring. We have this moment where Solo's like, come on, hey dog, give me a hug. Join us. Instead, seems like we're going to have OG Bloodline reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Solo's caught in between all four members.
Mm-hmm.
Only for Roman to go for a Superman punch right when Sammy's going for a haluva kick on Solo. He ducks, and so Roman eats the haluva kick, and that gets Jimmy all in Sammy's face. Jay's trying to keep him apart, trying to get it so they can talk it out. It's interesting that ever since Jimmy's come back, it kind of seems like they're really trying to push along the Bloodline story. And I wonder, partially, this is just pure speculation on my part, or curiosity on my part, if maybe when Roman came back at SummerSlam, that maybe Jimmy wasn't quite cleared yet, so they kind of had to push, and that's why we had a few weeks where Roman didn't really do anything.
Oh, that could definitely be. That would not surprise me at all.
And so now we're finally getting the story kicking off in the direction they want to go, which maybe initially they wanted to start a few weeks prior. But just on Raw, it didn't seem like Sammy is all interested in helping out Jay or Jimmy, of course. And then now he's right back into it. We're going to have some tension given what happened at the end of that segment, but it's interesting that they're kind of fast tracking this to, of course, get to the War Games match.
So kind of roping in the SmackDown aspect of things, because obviously last night we didn't do a SmackDown review because we were doing the show this morning. One of the more fun segments of the year and more compelling segments of the year, or at least of the Bloodline Saga post SummerSlam, was Jey Uso basically laying out his terms to Roman Reigns last night on SmackDown, saying his general thesis was, no more manipulation. The three of us are equals going into this match. The great thing about that is, and then they all stand try, and Roman's answer is, of course, a very heartfelt, deep yeet. Crowd goes crazy for it, right? It was a really, really great sequence. Jey Uso telling you guys it's like him, Hangman Adam Page, Sami Zayn as some of the top character performers in wrestling over the last couple of years that you've ever seen. And his performance last night was exemplary as well. And Roman's yeet was such a great pop. It was such a great mark out moment, I should say. And so that set the stage for today. Well, they didn't all come out at the same time, and pretty fascinatingly, Roman and Jimmy come out together. And after Roman and Jimmy come out, Jay gets his own entrance, probably the biggest pop of the night on that entrance too. That crowd was going crazy for Jey Uso. I still maintain too, this is kind of just scratching the surface of how popular Jey Uso can be. But so it was like, hey, everything is fine with the OG bloodline. We're on the same page. Until they're not. And I think that I like that sort of subversion of, oh, everything's fine. Well, holy shit, Solo just pinned Roman. That's kind of worst case scenario at this point.
You know, there's points in the match where things weren't fine. There was one point where Jay didn't want to pin in or tag in Roman. You know, there was a couple issues to the match, and Jimmy was giving Jay crap about that. It wasn't like everything was totally fine. There was efforts being made for things to be fine, but as Jay said on SmackDown, he wants Roman to treat him as his equal, both him and Jimmy. And so, you know, for him to pass on the group entrance to have his own, and not just having his own coming out after Roman, you know, feeds into that aspect of it. And some of Roman's facial responses were simultaneously annoyed but yet kind of entertained by Jay being his own man at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So it remains to be seen. Obviously, there's going to be a tension between Sammy and the rest of the bloodline, OG bloodline. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But, I mean, we're going to get OG bloodline versus bad bloodline in War Games. And at the end, you know, like the last time OG bloodline was in the War Games match. And that's when after that match, when Sammy was fully accepted.
Right.
You know? So I wonder if we're going to have a kind of a similar moment here where Sammy's getting into this, not exactly, you know, he's doing it for Jay essentially, you know?
Yeah.
And in the process of the match, instead, you know, like last time, it was Jay that really accepted Sammy at that point. At this point, it's going to be Jimmy that really is like, all right, he's in. I can trust him again.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Do you think it's going to be Jimmy from that perspective? Or do you think the central character beat is going to be between Sammy and Roman? Because Sammy Sammy with the chair shot, wow, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
there's
obviously
a lot
with
there.
too, but I think, you know, what we saw on Raw and what we saw even today, it was Jimmy up in Sammy's face today.
Yeah, but that's not where the story is, though. Like, the story is between...
That's an aspect of the story.
Jimmy at this point he's not... So the thing that I like about Jimmy and Roman right now is Jimmy can lay it down to Roman. Yeah. He understands the importance of it all, but he can tell Roman what's on his mind. And so in a way, he's kind of he is, not in a way, he is the guy who's trying to the guy who's trying to glue them together. But he understands that he'll come around to Sammy,
And that's
It's
my point. I'm
Roman
saying,
and Sammy. Roman and Sammy is going to be the War Games thing.
I mean, obviously, that's the major thing that needs to happen. I'm just saying, in terms of some symmetrical storytelling, at their last War Games, it was that War Games match where Jay's like, I can trust Sammy.
Well, that's what I'm saying about Roman and Sammy, though, because I don't know how much. I mean, how much do you think is going to be going on after War Games with like the OG Bloodline? I mean, there's still obviously WrestleMania, but
Well, they're going to have Roman and Solo have a one-on-one match. Whether that happens at Mania or not, I don't know. You could easily transition Sammy from a full Bloodline reunion to a feud with Kevin Owens, given the Bloodline reunion.
Well, that's because that's what I was thinking too, because that was mentioned. I think we mentioned that either today or yesterday, or I don't know, 2 days ago, whenever. And that match right there can obviously spring off from the Bloodline stuff, but it would basically mean Sammy's not really involved with the Bloodline past. There's no necessity for it past War Games, anyways. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the big Roman Sammy moment. I don't know what's planned in terms of segments for the next 3 or 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, don't know
leading into that, but it's going to be really good stuff. And whether it's Jimmy and Sammy getting on the same page or Roman and Sammy getting on the same page.
Well, I think it's going to be all of it. I mean, I think that's a point I was trying to make. It's going to be.
I'm saying like individual segments, because it's all not going to happen at the same time. Individual segments, they're all going to be awesome. They're all going to be compelling, like the old OG Bloodline stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Let's see here. Where else to go?
Well, here, let's pay some bills first, and then we can get to the rest of the show.
Okay, sounds good.
This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp, Steve.
Yes.
I don't say enough, but I got to send some appreciation out to all the friendos who support Going in Raw. Without the friendos, we cannot do what we do. So thank you. Thank you. This type of year, it's all about gratitude. So thank you to the friendos, but I want to thank somebody else.
Oh, yes.
I feel like I need to thank them, and that person is me.
Wow.
Thank you, Larson.
Not me.
I thanked you earlier in the week.
Oh.
What, you want more?
Sure.
All right.
That's good enough for me. But you know what, man? You're right. We probably don't take enough time to thank the people in our lives enough, and that includes ourselves.
Yeah. There was a period in my mid-20s where I definitely wasn't appreciating myself. I was dealing with severe anxiety. Because of it, my life had pretty much been put on hold. Well, I tried to make sense of it all. Eventually, I realized that I had to go to therapy, and therapy helped me learn the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety and allowed me to better appreciate myself.
And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp is entirely online and is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Then you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/raw.
All right. Elsewhere on the show, you want to talk Seth and Bronson Reed?
Sure, let's talk Seth and Braun. The one match that we thought had a very good chance of not happening actually did happen. They teased us quite a bit that it wasn't going to happen. Like the first half of this match, in terms if you could account for when entrances ended. Before the bell rang, that part of it was almost just as long as the actual match itself.
On the stream, we were acting like this was a horse race. Like,
Yeah,
no,
no.
Go the other way. Go the other way.
Yeah.
Stop
Get in the
going
ring.
to
No, stay out.
Yeah.
Toss the match
That was
out.
fun.
But it happened. It took, 3 stomps? 3 stomps.
I think there was
Including one on the
wasn't there
ring
like an
steps.
early one, and then there was the ring steps, and there was one in, and then one
And
I
then
think
the
it was
super one.
Yeah, I think it was like 4. Yeah.
But 3 stomps kind of in succession to get the
Yeah.
win
Right.
here.
Yeah.
And even after that, so like the Seth hit a stomp on Bronson on the ring steps, and Bronson sold it for me at like 10 seconds and started getting up. He gets in the ring, Seth hits him with another one. Again, starts getting up pretty much right away, and it takes one off the top rope for Seth to finally pin Bronson. But he was maybe selling that for 90 seconds and got up, and it's like, Seth, give me more.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So even in defeat, it was a good show. And this match in a lot of ways played out how we thought it would. That was a good showing for Bronson. Seth would find an avenue to get the win and ideally lead to a match with a stipulation that will let them indulge in some mayhem and chaos, and that's the one that Bronson should win. Hopefully does.
Do you think that's going to happen at this point? Because sometimes they do the thing where, Seth wins it. So Seth won this one. I actually felt that if this match was going to happen and it wasn't just a concept of a match, Seth would kind of escape, kind of in the way Cody did, like escape with a win. Like, oh, lucky I got out of that one, as opposed to, and I mean, to a degree, yeah, it's like, hey, he found an opportunity and he had to triple down on it and he had to really seize on it. And that's the way they went. And then, yeah, like you said, Bronson gets up. It's a great moment because he's like, I mean, I want more. And Seth can all he could do is really jabber at on the
he's like,
ramp.
I can't believe that he's getting up from that. It was kind of
right.
his
Yeah.
attitude,
It makes Bronson look great. Right.
Yeah.
Do you think they go to 3 matches, or is this going to be a second match in which, I mean, because doesn't Seth have to win the last one? Isn't that how they usually do it here?
Yeah, well, if they do the trilogy, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if the idea is, I guess it depends what they have planned for Seth down the road, because
on Raw
Seth,
they've got the fatal 4-way number
they
one
do,
contender
and,
match.
you got to suspect that Bronson's going to keep Seth from winning that. That'll add unto itself will motivate another match. If Bronson says, hey, I want a match. Because, like, that was the thing in this one, is Bronson grabs the ring steps and comes up on Seth like he's going to hit him with it. This is a standard match. It's not a falls count anywhere, no DQ, anything like that. So Bronson's like, I want to introduce mayhem into this bout. And Seth's like, nope, clip your knee. A few stomps, I win. But I think it depends on what, like, if they are going to have... Depends what they have Seth doing leading up to WrestleMania. If it's a really high-profile match, then yeah, he's going to come out of this feud on top.
It's got to be Punk, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. But if they don't have maybe something concrete for Seth at Mania, then I don't know. I mean, Seth's one of the top stars on Raw for sure, and the entirety of WWE, and because of that, he's probably going to be booked strongly. But yeah, I mean, if they have something huge planned for him from WrestleMania, then yeah, there'll be 3 matches, and Bronson will win one, and then Seth will win the other 2.
I mean, they could do the thing because it's like Bronson even lost the last Monster Standing match. They don't seem to have a problem keeping him looking cool, losing matches. It wouldn't shock me if they did 2 and Seth swept. Just because if they do the thing where, oh man, I won, but did I really win? You know what I mean? And Bronson technically loses, he can still go on to, probably win 2 other feuds with lower profile guys than Seth Rollins. Because you're right, entering into WrestleMania season, it wouldn't shock me to see Seth. Hell, it wouldn't shock me to see Seth win this fatal 4-way tomorrow, and he beats Gunther. That would not shock me.
It wouldn't surprise me either. And Bronson's MO. And they reiterated this tonight. A commentary did is Bronson. The reason that he went after Seth to make a name for himself, and then commentary said Bronson related to them that said it on, maybe it was on Raw or something, I don't remember, that if he can beat Seth Rollins, then that's his ticket to the main event scene.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have any ideas of maybe, even if it's just having Bronson being a challenger for Gunther on Raw or something like that.
Ooh.
Which would be a great match.
That'd be a great match.
Then even if Bronson wins one of the 3 matches, well, he got what he wanted in that respect. He's shown he can beat the former world champion, and therefore he should be elevated to a main eventer.
Is there any chance, let me ask you this, is there any chance, getting back to Seth, the challenger for the Raw World title wins the Rumble?
I'd say it's probably more likely, because if we're going to get Rock versus Cody for the title at Mania, I don't see The Rock winning the Rumble.
I agree with that.
There's another, they can get there some other way.
I agree with that. It wouldn't, dude, man, boy, I don't know.
But also, if it's a situation where it's some sort of triple threat deal, or there's 2 matches, 2 nights, Rock Cody night 1, Roman gets the winner night 2, then Roman could win the Rumble.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking it would more likely be Roman But yeah, we have no idea what they're going to do. Because I was just thinking, if Seth beats Gunther, even if it doesn't happen until the Rumble, he beats him early in the Rumble. Punk wins the Rumble, points at Seth. Then you get Seth Punk. That's a huge match right there. That they might actually have that main event night one instead of being in the mid card. I think that's a big time money match right there. They ain't gonna main event night two, but it could main event night one instead of Bloodline main eventing both nights.
Yeah.
But because they'll probably, I mean, if the latest report on Dwayne is correct, they got to do like a triple threat, right? Rock, Roman, Cody. I mean, I know they're trying to make something out of Solo, but I still feel like Rock has got to be the guy pulling the strings on Solo.
And if that's the case, they got to get moving with that, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
They got everything else moving with a bunch of urgency now in the Bloodline Saga, but without that aspect of it, he just shows up in bad blood.
Rock has got to be at Survivor Series, right? I think so. Not to fight, but to come out and do something more than 1, 2, 3, whatever he did.
Yeah, look and then count to 3.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what exactly. But then if he's not behind bad bloodline stuff, then what's his role in the larger?
He's got to be
story.
He's got to be, unless he comes back. Unless he comes back and he's sort of above it all and he's like, look at this. This is a mess. And Roman, it's on you. It's your fault that it's a mess. None of this would have happened if you would have beat Cody in the first place. None of this would have happened. So I'm going to prove to you that, the final boss is everything. I'm going to take on Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Roman says, not too fast. I'm going to get through the Rumble. I'm getting my shot at Cody. You get the triple threat. And Solo's on the outside looking in. I mean, they might just not, they might look at Solo and be like, hey, you know what? You're coming along, but you're not WrestleMania main event guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't imagine if it was Roman, let's say it's Cody and Rock in the main event night 2 for the title, and Roman has, the match with Solo with the Ula Fala on the line, for example. I mean, that's not going to main event night 1, probably.
Roman not main eventing like anything would be weird, though, right?
Yeah, it'd be unusual for Roman. Yeah.
At this point, I think they got to do a triple threat, unless they do the 2-night thing where it's.
Oh no! How about this, Steve?
Yeah, let's hear it.
4-way match.
Ooh.
Rock, Cody, Roman, and Solo.
I'm in. Do it. I love it. I want the most overbooked match in the history of matches.
And everything, the People's Champion, the Ula Fala. The People's Championship, the Ula Fala.
They all have to put it in the middle.
It's all on the line.
Yeah, right.
Whoever wins takes it all.
Yeah, winner takes all. Solo wins, Larson.
Got the Ula Fala. He's got these 2 titles.
You want to secure your future of the company, do that.
Fireworks going off all over the place.
That's perfect. So anyways, let's go ahead and just start going.
Let's do it. Show opens up with OG Bloodline versus Bad Bloodline. As mentioned, Jay got an enormous pop when he has.
Dude, that place was. They did the wide shot of everybody doing the little dance thing.
Yeah.
My goodness, that place was rocking.
And we kind of talked about how this match went down. We can get into more detail here quickly. So Roman's looking for a spear, but instead Solo kicks him, hits a spike out of nowhere. Jimmy breaks up the pin. Oh, he's a little late. Jacob Fatu then eats a super kick, but no sells it, takes out Jimmy. So then Jacob turns to Jay. Hits a flurry of super kicks on everyone, and then Jacob catches a suicide dive, while Roman hits Solo with a Superman punch. So Roman's calling for the spear. Tama Tonga distracts him. So Roman throws him off the apron, trying to throw him into the ring. Instead, throws him on top of the refs. We get a ref bump. An actual, real, interesting, well-executed, creative ref bump.
Usually they're just like, they get squashed in the corner.
Yeah, in the corner or something like that. This was actually really clever. So then Jacob Fatu goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Hits a headbutt, flying elbow on Roman, moonsault, takes out the Usos with the suicide dive. So Solo's back up, hits Roman with 2 spikes to get the win.
Yeah, man.
So then Bad Bloodline attacks OG Bloodline. Some Sammy's music hits. He comes to the ring. The whose side is he on thing. He's standing in the middle of the ring. Solo's like, come on, give me a hug. Hey, dog.
He says, my dog. You can see his lip read a little bit. My dog, come on.
So then
we're the ones.
Sammy
We're the ones.
Sammy opens his arms like he's going to give Solo a hug. Instead, hits him with an exploder. So OG Bloodline fends off everybody except Solo. Solo standing in the ring. And that's when we have the miscommunication where Sammy accidentally kicks Roman.
Perfect timing on that, too.
Yeah,
Just the
really
timing was amazing.
It was really good. And Jimmy's all in Sammy's face, telling Roman what happened. You know, and you know, again, it's just, I don't want to harp on the point too much, but I just see the parallels between Jimmy and Sammy's relationship now and Jay and Sammy before War Games last year. And that's the only reason I bring it up. And it's one part of the story. And obviously the major aspect is Roman and Sammy. But I just see the parallels, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's this for Jimmy's story. That's the moment he's like, all right, Sammy's with us, and I believe in him now.
That's an important thing, too, because Jay has blown up. I mean, Jimmy's injury, it's so unfortunate because Jay has blown up. Mm-hmm. And look, they're two completely different people. The story just lent itself to Jay getting to this point.
It necessitated Jay having a solo run.
It absolutely did. And Jimmy, his role in it, it's interesting to me if you go all the way back to 2020 when Jimmy was injured and so they ran with Jay. Would they have ever gone the other way? And would the results have been similar given just how different their personalities now that they've been given so much to work with have come on display? Jimmy needs a story. And I think what you're talking about could definitely lend to that. It's just that chair shot to Roman. You know what I mean?
Like I said, it's all part of the same story. Just everybody has their own kind of loose ends. And,
don't you think War Games is going to be like the punctuating? That's like going to be the big final moment, I think, between all these guys.
Yeah, but that's not to say you can't have a measure of. Look, I'm not saying Jimmy kind of getting on better terms with Sammy is going to be the. I'm not saying that's the focus. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's one aspect of the story. Sort of like Sammy's relationship with Roman was the primary story being told in the initial period, but Jay being leery of Sammy was important in terms of how Roman viewed him as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I think, as you mentioned earlier, if Jimmy's the one that's kind of in Roman's ear, not afraid to tell him what's up.
Yeah, that's true.
And if he's in Roman's ear being like, you can't trust this guy. Look what he did. And then, again, Sammy proves his worth to the bloodline in War Games for the second time. Jimmy go to Roman and is like, yeah, I vouch for this dude. He's with us. And that lends to the reconciliation between Roman and Sammy.
Sammy's cool scarf thing needs to stay, too. He's wearing really cool, like... he wears it like when he's in Saudi Arabia. He should wear it everywhere though, because it looks awesome on him. Looks like he's gonna go find some sort of ancient artifact.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know where this is going. I mean, we know where it's going. It's going to War Games, but the twists and turns along the way, who knows?
We've got 3 weeks of twists and turns.
Yeah, I know.
Or about
a lot of awkward segments.
It's at the end of the month, and it's like the 30th of November, something like that.
It's the last, isn't
the
it?
Last day of November. Because Full Gear is a week before that, yeah.
No, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So that's
Wait, what? Full Gear? Wait, when's Full Gear? No,
Survivor Series is the last Saturday in November.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Full Gear is the Saturday before.
Okay, yeah. Right,
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the weekend before.
Full Gear is the one I will not be there for.
Right, yeah. No watch long for Full Gear. I might do it at Wrestle Juice. Maybe. If you're not around, I'm not, I miss him so much for a great many more important reasons because I loved him as just a human being, man. But, our watch longs with the Enforcer was just so much fun because you know what? Because you ever think about the Enforcer, I love that. He's a chatty Cathy. That dude could talk. So I could just sit back and watch the shows and know that people are talking. But yeah, I don't know. I might do one on Wrestle Juice, but I kind of doubt it, man. I'm just going to take one pay-per-view.
Hey, it's fine.
Over the last 10 years or whatever it's been that we've been doing watch-alongs. I know.
Even the last time I missed Full Gear 3 years ago, you had Alex and Enforcer and Kalon, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll probably take that one off too, but we'll see. I don't know. I get ideas. It all depends on how I'm feeling like moments before. We had okay, this is what I'm definitely going to do though. I will say this because I was thinking about this. Now we're talking about it. 1,000%. I'm going to do a live watch along of the pre-show.
All right.
Do you know why?
Why?
What match is happening during the Full Gear pre-show?
Oh, yeah. It's Costco guys.
The Costco guy versus QT Marshall.
Yeah.
Gotta watch that.
Steve gives that a boom.
I give that shit a boom. Anyways, after the Bloodline stuff, we had the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's World Tag Titles. Damage Control versus Jade and Bianca versus Lash, Legend, and Jakara, and versus Chelsea and Piper. Anything Io Sky touches, anything Bianca Belair touches.
I was going to say, yeah.
Immaculate. And everybody else a lot of fun too. There's a lot of cool stuff. Lash Legend, every time Lash is in a match, man, she makes a case. They should be on main roster. They are so much fun. There was one minor miscommunication spot between her and Jakara and Io, but other than that, like this match, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, man.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. A lot of really creative spots, I thought, in this match. We saw, I don't know if she's done this before, Bianca do a blockbuster off the top. I don't know if
that was cool.
Shout out to Tez.
Yeah. Well, also mainly Buff Bagwell. I think her homage was to Buff Bagwell, not her husband.
Not her husband. All right.
She's a huge Buff Bagwell fan.
So let's start here. So Jade hits Chelsea with Jaded, and I was like, that's it, match over. No. Damage Control breaks it up, so then Bianca takes out everybody. Then runs into a back elbow from Io, who follows with a bridging German suplex. We get the pop-up insane elbow. But then Jakara hits a drop kick on Io. And then Lash and Jakara hit this. This was great. So Lash picks up Kyrie, puts her in the electric chair position, and then tosses her off her shoulders into a powerbomb from Jakara. That was well done.
That was crazy.
That was great. So then Piper takes out Lash, and then Chelsea hits a code breaker. Piper follows with a senton. Piper then tags in. Chelsea looks for an I'm prettier, but Jade blocks that. And then Piper accidentally hits Chelsea with the Vader bomb. So then Jade and Bianca hit a Doomsday Device on Piper to get the win.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. The Vader bomb on Chelsea was hilarious.
Yeah,
their really dynamic is so great. I mean, that is one thing about because we often talk about, the women's division really got the short shrift with the move to 2 hours on Raw. Mm-hmm. But, this match, and from what I understand, I think it was Meltzer or Fightful, I forget what it was, Meltzer or Fightful, claimed that this was the replacement for Raquel and Rhea match, which is whatever. I know that happens. We probably would have gotten this on SmackDown or whatever. Mm-hmm. But this was a ton of fun. And everybody has such a great dynamic, and their chemistry amongst the teams is so strong that the women's tag division, it could always use more time, but you got to like these teams and how much of a difference it is from like 2 years ago when so much shit was just sort of thrown together.
Oh, it was all thrown together.
And nobody had any chemistry because it was all just thrown together. Well, they gave lots of time and they let these performers stick together, develop this chemistry, and it makes a stronger product because of it.
It does. I think that's the important thing is actually having tag teams instead of you have champions who are a team because they're champions, and then you throw a couple competitors together to form a team to challenge the champions, and when they lose, and the team dissolves.
Yeah, boy, that was a whole lot of nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
After that, we got Seth versus Bronson Reed. And
quick shout out to Bronson Reed for his ring attire too, man.
Oh, the MF Doom mask on it. Heck yeah.
Boy, that looked cool.
That was great. Yeah, Bronson Reed had some great gear tonight. Seth did hit, 4 stomps total? There was one earlier on. I think that was actually before the match started. Yeah, that was before that. I think the bell actually.
Was it?
Maybe not. Oh, no. Right after.
Because he kicked. I think he kicked out of that one too. Yeah,
it was right after because Bronson hits a tsunami, looks for another, misses that, and then Seth hits the stomp and Bronson kicks out of that. So early on, this match goes all over the place. It kind of settles down into a more typical match. That's until they end up on the floor where Bronson picks up the steps and Seth hits him with a chop block. Stomp on the ring steps, back in the ring, another stomp, and then a super stomp to get the win. But, this is about as strong a showing as you can get in defeat for Bronson Reed. Like, he was for their stretch of this match where he was just wrecking Seth.
We have a super chat here from Glenn who says, a cool finish to the next Reed-Rollins match would be a last man standing stipulation where Seth gets the last offense but stays down for the count because of the effort he needed to exert. I could see that being a dramatic finish. That could be cool if done right.
Yeah, that'd be good. Where he lost simply because he had nothing more to give.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. After that, we had Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship. As Steve mentioned, really overbooked. A rather short match, too.
Yeah, I was about to look up. This was definitely the shortest match.
Yeah, it was. Well, of the matches that actually happened.
Right. This was 8 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's really short.
The triple threat, the U.S. triple threat was only about a minute longer.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Felt like forever.
So about halfway through, Liv hits Nia with a sunset flip powerbomb, and then Tiffany runs down with the briefcase. She goes to cash in, but Nia stops her. And then eventually walks her back up towards the ramp. Let's see. At one point, Tiffany runs back towards the ring. She's pacing around. Liv looks for Oblivion, blocks it, and then Raquel comes to ringside and grabs the briefcase from Tiffany. Nia goes to the floor and attacks Liv. Raquel, and then gets back in the ring. Liv hits a code breaker. Raquel backs down Tiffany, and then Liv goes out too, but then Nia runs into everybody on the outside. Nia then rolls Liv in the ring, hits a leg drop, looks for the Annihilator, but Dom slides the briefcase into the ring and gets on the apron to distract the ref. Raquel hits Nia. Liv hits Oblivion. Liv wins.
Yeah.
Triple H comes to the ring and presents the title to Liv Morgan.
He did. Yeah, that thing is huge.
It is
massive. I thought it was fine for how long it was.
It's just really short.
But they got to the overbooking mess really, or 4 minutes into it.
Yeah.
Because it was half the match was overbooking stuff. All the stuff happening.
It really was.
Yeah,
it really was. Speaking of matches, we had a non-match next.
This was a concept of a match. The match was advertised. They had a poster for it. So this match did not actually
doesn't exist till the bell rings.
Start. This match did not start, and so nobody won this match
because there wasn't a match. Nobody won because there wasn't a match.
Right, but nobody.
You can't say nobody won this match because the match never existed.
This is a joke that was on the stream.
I know.
People who were watching this might not have been in the stream with us. So, anyways, it was just Kevin Owens and Randy Orton beating each other up. They brought the producers out. Interestingly enough, Adam Pearce came down to assist Nick Aldis with this. Yes, and ate a stunner. Was it an RKO or a stunner?
An RKO.
Oh, yeah, so it was an RKO. Because I think the ref got the stunner. And Pierce got the RKO. Do you think that is going to play? Pierce was on the phone with Aldis yelling at him. Are they going to do some sort of brand warfare team, Aldis team?
They're going to do a GM match. Give me Adam Pearce versus Nick Aldis. Give me Adam Pearce versus Nick Aldis.
NWA champion versus NWA champion?
Yep.
Wow. I think they're going to do it. Listen, let me ask you, what would you rather see? A 5-on-5 team versus team with Aldis and Pierce participating in the team.
Oh, all right. As long as they're the final two for their respective teams.
So that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good. Aldis eliminates everybody on team. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Whoever's on Team Raw, like Bronson Reed, eliminates everybody except for Aldis, and then Aldis eliminates everybody on Team SmackDown or Team Raw.
Team Raw.
Yeah, that's good.
So after all that happens, they brawl up through the crowd, and then KO lays Orton on a table. hits an elbow through it, jumping off the vomitorium. The railing in front of the entryway is what it's called.
It's called the vomitorium.
Bruce Pritchard talked about that.
That's right, yeah, because Jeff Hardy liked to jump off that thing.
At least according to Bruce Pritchard. So no match. Doesn't exist. Never happened. Then we had the U.S. title match, triple threat, LA Knight. Yeah. Taking on Andrade. Taking on Carmelo Hayes.
So what's notable about this is Carmelo and Andrade, they want their Game 7 to be complete. And so they kept on ejecting LA Knight from this match and doing all their cool shit. And then LA Knight would come in and do LA Knight shit, which kind of isn't as cool.
The finish of this match was pretty awesome, though.
The finish was great. No, you're right. The finish was great.
You know, if it wasn't for... So there was a botch where LA Knight, you know, he does the thing where he jumps up the top rope and hits the suplex off there.
Which has such a low
It does to
percentage
begin
of
with.
success.
But in this instance, you have both Melo and Andrade on the top rope already, so there's less real estate for him to work with. So he jumps up there, misses the jump, and crotches himself over the top rope. Has to get off and then do something to cover up, to set up whatever they're doing next. And if that spot hadn't happened, if that botch hadn't happened, I'd be like, oh, this is a relatively fun match. But it was just such a high-profile thing and ended comedically with him crotching himself over the top rope.
Yeah, dude. Look, the match was fine because Carmelo and I'm an LA Knight fan. I like LA Knight, and I think with the right opponent, the right singles opponent, like if he had a one-on-one with Carmelo, it'd be great. If he had a one-on-one with Andrade, it'd be great. I think we've seen that before.
Yeah,
But yeah, the story of this match just felt kind of awkward because they were focused on each other, and that makes sense. I get it. It's actually a smart story to tell.
I mean, it's the one they've told several times. Yeah.
That being said, it just felt a little bit off in this match. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but that moment was kind of just a comedic one that punctuated. Yeah, it's kind of off. And then like you see him down there after he was selling it after that spot. And I swear to God, he had a big smile on his face because he realized how goofy it was. But yeah, LA Knight is able to. So yeah, the finish was, God, what was it? Did Andrade have Carmelo setting him up for the
was doing
message?
for like the facebuster thing where it's kind of the,
that's what it was. Yeah.
And then as he was about to rotate around, Knight hits Melo with the BFT. But in the process of taking Melo down with it, Andrade hits the mat too, and then Knight hits Melo to get the win.
It was a cool, finish.
It was
there.
a cool creative finish. It was good. It was good. And then we had our main event for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Like, this match was fine. I just I don't want to get into. I don't like, and this isn't just particular for this match.
Dude, it ain't just you. Look, tired. I feel the same way. I'm just cracking up because
tired of that finish.
Because Cody won that way. It was incredibly silly. I think, and I get, okay, on one of these matches, you overbooked the shit out of it to justify Liv winning and to motivate the Tiffany story. In this match, I get it. Triple H wanted to go clean, so Cody escapes Gunther by doing, some silly fucking roll-up thing. Look, you're not the only one. I've seen plenty of people in chat. I imagine if I go on social media, people are going to be bitching about this because it wasn't 3 Crossroads where it wasn't Gunther winning, and there was no Kevin Owens, and there was no Goldberg, which a lot of people thought were going to happen. Kevin
Owens interfering made tons of sense.
It did. So bitch away about it. It's you're not alone on this, man.
I know, but I bitched about it plenty at the beginning of the show, so.
Oh, I got you.
And it's literally not just as it relates specifically to this match. I'm just tired of that finish, especially when you have wrestlers who are who are ring tacticians, who should fall for this kind of shit.
Everybody can get got, man, by the simple things,
But here's the thing. Like, I'm replaying this in my head, and Gunther does the sleeper. Cody rolls back on him. And it's not like they sold it before where you have the sleeper on somebody and you're so focused on maintaining the sleeper that you just don't realize that your shoulders are down.
Mm-hmm.
They sold that finish that way before. This wasn't what was happening because Gunther, he realized his shoulders were down because he's kicking his feet trying to kick out.
Mm-hmm.
And like, all you gotta do is release the sleeper. Your arms aren't trapped. Just release it. You can kick out.
Yeah, but it's all happening so quickly, and he doesn't think that, let me
He's
double
the ring
check.
general.
Well, that's just a nickname, man.
Well,
He didn't, achieve that rank in some sort of militaristic fashion. That's just what people call him. Calls himself that, to be honest with you. He should probably reconsider. Maybe let's start off with the ring major.
Oh man.
All right, maybe we can be the ring corporal for a bit.
He won King of the Ring too.
Well, that doesn't make him a real king.
Anyways, let me finish.
There's no replay available yet. Otherwise, I'd go back and watch.
I remember watching the replay when it happened live, and he's kicking his feet trying to get out.
We'll see. He couldn't get out then, could he? Cody had him trapped. Give
do
Cody his credit, Larson.
Release the sleeper and he can get out.
Fine. Why don't you write him a letter and tell him that then, okay?
I will. I'm going to say it to camera, Gunther.
He ain't watching this show.
Maybe someone will send it to him. Gunther, you're one of my favorite wrestlers.
You're going to get us in trouble.
Why?
Because somebody's going to clip this.
No,
put it on Twitter.
Really,
they're gonna
this is
snitch.
kayfabe nonsense for me to say it to Gunther. Whoever produced this match. Really?
Wow. Holy shit. Larson knows better than you, Michael Hayes. Who do you think produced this thing?
Do better. How about that?
You think it was Abyss that produced this thing, man? Who usually produces Cody's matches?
I don't know. If he was working there, I'd say Arn. But I don't think he's working
wow. Cody.
Although we did see Cody block a chop using the Arn method, putting those forearms up.
That was impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. This match was all right, I guess.
Yeah, this match was rad. It was Cody versus Gunther. It was good stuff. Cody escaped.
Good. He escaped. That was the story. Because Gunther towards the end was like, Cody would try to muster up some offense and he'd just engulf him with a sleeper. It happened like 3 or 4 times, and then Cody finally flipped backwards. And then
I'll be honest. In terms of
a sort of basic wrestling 101, seemingly.
I will say this. In terms of both these dudes, I do feel like this was one of their less impressive matches for both of them. Cody's had some really good matches along the way. Gunther's had some phenomenal matches along the way. This was not one of my favorite Cody or Gunther matches.
No, that's why I say it was all right. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. So Cody wins. So then Gunther goes up to him and shakes Cody's hand, even though kind of points his finger in his face and lectures him a little bit.
Well, I think he was saying, "You are the #1 champion."
No, I thought he was like, "You got me this time, but next time it's going to be different."
Yeah, it's probably closer to what he was saying. I am the secondary champion.
Next time, I'll be primary.
Yeah.
And then Cody's presented with this title. And they kept cutting to the post-show panel and back to the arena and had picture-in-picture like something else is going to happen, and then nothing else happened.
And then some little kid tried to steal Cody's title while he was like trying to celebrate with the crowd. You are not the crown jewel champion, little boy. Maybe one day.
I just felt like at least if there was, and I know Triple H loves interference finishes for his matches and does it a lot, arguably too much.
Yeah, dude.
But when it advances stories they're telling, it might be overplayed, but it makes sense. And it felt like a situation where even if Kevin Owens interfered and somehow ended up costing Gunther the match, whatever, just advance the story with the finish. And I really feel like that happened here.
They cut back. Here's the thing. They cut back to Kevin. I noticed this during the post show. They cut to Kevin Owens backstage. He was still selling the table bit.
All right.
That's was not to say he couldn't be doing the same
rubble
thing.
Of the table still.
What's that? Yeah, right.
Were he and Randy still laying in the rubble of the table?
No, it's not to say that they couldn't do that anyways, like him coming out. I'm just saying that's the approach they took with Kevin Owens this time around. But no, I get it. You did the one overbooking thing with the women's title. You don't want to do it with both of them. So you have the best thing you can do is just have Cody escape. I get it. Let's talk about this really quick. On Friday, I think it was Friday.
It was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, because today's Saturday. WWE released Baron Corbin. I'm sorry, they told Baron Corbin his contract would not be renewed.
Yeah.
Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell, I believe, were both released. They're on a 90-day no compete. So in February of 2025, I think they will be able to go to another promotion. I don't know exactly when Baron's contract does.
I think it was Fightful that said it was the end of the year.
Oh, okay. So he has another. Okay. So
So
another
he
two
has
months.
about a month.
You got to
And a
figure they're
or 2
probably
months,
not going
sorry.
to use him then because this is sort of
Yeah.
he already issued a tweet. Um, so number one, obviously, our best goes out to them. Baron Corbin, and you said this like the first thing you said when you texted me about this, and I agree 1,000%. This guy was the worst utilized quality, talented guy that WWE has had over the past like 10 years. So talented. This guy had, number one, he is underrated in the ring when you see, especially what he did in NXT. And that's something you pointed out on the stream today. But I always feel like he could have done a lot more on main roster had he been allowed to for a man his size also.
Hmm.
I thought he displayed across a variety of gimmicks, a lot of like the guy has actual charisma
Yep.
and he was able to take several gimmicks and run with them. And for whatever reason, they just never, and to this day, even under Triple H, who's had plenty of opportunity with him, he just never gave Baron Corbin what I thought was a real shot to succeed. I really just don't think that they gave him a real shot.
Yeah. I mean, there was years where seemingly Vince took every opportunity possible to humiliate him publicly.
Yeah.
It's evident he put in the work to get better.
Mm-hmm.
If you see him in his early days, even on TV and NXT, to where he was even just a few years later,
Mm-hmm.
it's massive. It's a
Mm-hmm.
massive improvement. And even when he achieved a measure of success on the main roster, when in Money in the Bank, being U.S. champ, it's not like he stopped working and getting better. Because by the time he went back to NXT, he was putting on some good matches and doing stuff that he had never done before.
Yeah.
He was constantly working to improve.
Yeah.
And that seems like the type of dude you want on your roster.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Someone who puts the work in.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's constantly striving to get better. But I don't know. It seems like he's somebody that the company could have made a lot of money using in a more interesting, creative fashion, and they just never did it. I don't understand why.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with any of that.
I don't know if he could have been a consistent world champ guy. I mean, I like Baron. If you tell an interesting story with him, I think he could be a main eventer. But nonetheless,
yeah.
he just seems like the type of dude you want around.
Yeah, he's like a really good utility guy. Like a really good, like you saw how over the bum ass Corbin stuff was. And I think again, that's something where it was a very specific thing and you gave it to him and the guy ran with it.
Yeah.
And he never had that specific thing, It's like, well, what really can you do with Raw general manager? What about a constable?
Constable.
What the fuck, what is that even,
I know.
And then, yeah, he basically uses the butt of a joke every single time.
Several jokes.
They gave him the dog food angle with Roman. It's like, what can you do with that? So yeah, it's a bummer. And, I don't know. He strikes me. I have no idea, but he strikes me as the kind of guy who's probably really smart with his money. So he probably doesn't need to wrestle. If he doesn't want to. That being said, I'd love to see him on AEW. I don't watch TNA. I don't watch New Japan anymore. If he goes there because he wants to, awesome. If AEW wants him, I'd be happy to see him on my television. I really would. I don't know, what manner they'd want to use him, given the direction of the company right now. But if they gave him a chance, I think that'd be awesome. I really do.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Me too. And
Same
both
goes with Tegan Nox and Indy
Yeah.
Hartwell. Tegan, unfortunately, she was seemingly one of Triple H's favorites going way
Mae Young
back.
Classic. Yeah.
The Mae Young Classic, that's right. And unfortunately, during the that first Mae Young Classic, she tore her knee up and was out for an extended period of time. Never really found much for her. She went through a couple injury phases, and but she always seemed like a super talented person. Again, and Indy Hartwell, who again they never really gave her that thing that she would have needed. I thought her
Not on main roster, no.
not on main roster. Her stuff in the way I thought was really good. She was NXT Women's Champion for a second.
Index stuff was really good.
The index stuff was really good. Yeah, that was really good stuff. But again, somebody who they really didn't find much for, and that's a shame. But hopefully they'll both show up. AEW has been doing a bit more with their women lately, and if they show up there, I'd be super happy to see them on my TV.
Agreed. You want to answer a couple questions?
Was there anything else on SmackDown that sort of didn't relate to the?
Bailey and Naomi beat Indy Hartwell
Yes.
and Candice on SmackDown.
That was a
Taking notes.
taped match, by the way, too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm trying to jog my memory. In terms
Oh,
of
and
what else
then
happened.
Pretty Deadly lost to the Street Profits.
That's right. That's right.
Not
There was
really.
a segment backstage between Motor City Machine Guns and Waller and
Right.
Theory,
So
so
they're
you
going to be
expect
on
a tag match there happening.
They're going to be on the Grayson Waller effect
Yeah.
next week, or this coming week, I should say. Yeah, it seems to be it, though.
Yeah, more or less. The show was very focused on advanced stuff for Crown Jewel.
I did like this, too, and I know she told Nia, oh, it was all a ruse, but Tiffany coming out and saying, I'm tired of dealing with your shit, basically. I like that. I like that role for Tiffany. I can't stand when it's like when R-Truth gets kind of serious. Like when he did that thing with Miz, even though it was comedic, when he stands up for himself and he doesn't act exclusively like an idiot. When Tiffany stood up to Nia and was like, I'm tired of your shit. I like that. Even if it's her playing the game or whatever, like we saw tonight when she came down to try to cash in and then she didn't and then she was going to again. Yeah, it was good stuff. I like that. It adds a couple wrinkles to the character.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Let's see here. Masto Jira asks, what's the best referee bump of all time? Wasn't that one of the times when the ring collapsed and the ref like bounced out of the ring onto the floor?
John Cone, I think that was.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
There had to have been a good Hebner bump, like a Triple H Hebner thing, probably. I'm sure Hulk Hogan like took out a referee at some point because he was a bad guy.
Quote unquote face Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. The red and yellow Hogan.
I like the ref bump tonight though. I thought that was actually.
I thought it was really good. Yeah, it was like a high crossbody. DJ Fluffy says the Bloodline story is definitely going to have more heel face turns. Who's the next member of the Samoan dynasty to turn heel or face? It's going to be Jacob Fatu because people are going to love him so much.
Yeah. The Honky Donkey Man says, what's your prediction of who will be involved in next year's Crown Jewel champion versus champion match? Let's assume that it happens. It's not a one-time deal.
Yeah, no kidding.
So champions come November 1st, next year, right?
So my guess would be...
I got it.
Please.
And they can actually tell a good story with it this time. You got CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Roman Reigns.
Oh. There you go. That could work.
And by that point, the Wise Man has come back.
Wise Man. Oh, okay. All right. I see where you're going there. I see where you're going. All right. How about this? And then people can tell us who did better, right? Roman Reigns, for sure. Brock Lesnar.
About threw up my chili. I thought you were going to say Roman Reigns is Seth Rollins. Like, all right, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
No, I was joking. It was a joke, people. Yeah, no, Roman and Seth would be really good. Boy, that'd be good.
Oh, CM Punk probably wouldn't be involved in Crown Jewel next year, though.
He does not. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think he sort of like got himself out of that one.
So I'll say Seth and Roman. Can't go wrong with Seth versus Roman.
Oh, what about this? Roman Reigns and Jey Uso.
There you go.
I like that one. Yeet. My spirit animal is a Dorito. Says, what was the best Halloween costume you saw during trick-or-treating? I just kind of appreciate that at my kids' school, they were like, hey, on Halloween, don't be wearing your costumes to school. And then there was a kid wearing a full-on, like, banana costume.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there you go, kid.
So I don't know if this would qualify as the best, but they have those inflatable ones.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a kid who was dressed up like a baby, but one of those inflatable ones.
Oh,
And
man.
this thing was humongous. It must have been 6.5 feet tall.
Oh, my gosh.
Like the top of the head. It was huge.
That's
So I
crazy.
was like, I don't know how this doesn't seem like it's like really easy to move around in, much less trying to walk around an entire neighborhood. What do I know?
Let's see here. AJ Otani says, did LA Knight need to ruin Game 7 just for us to get here?
Yeah, no.
Hey, you know what? Game 7, you know whose game it is? LA Knight's game. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a question that's really going to put us on the spot, but Luis asks, who's in the running for best and worst gimmicks of the year?
Gimmicks?
I don't know, man.
What, like?
I'll take a nap. I had some chili. I'm sleepy.
Larson's gimmick of I'm fucking tired. Too tired to answer this question.
Tired.
I don't know. Bronson Reed tsunamiing people a lot and being super
that's
destructive.
Cool gimmick. Yeah, that's great.
That's my gimmick of the year.
Have an MF Doom mask on his gear. Yeah.
Great. Like, what other gimmick is there? Who's got a gimmick?
I mean, Hangman with the crazy cowboy thing. That's cool.
Wasn't he doing that in 2023 though, or was that just this year?
Yeah, but he's like taking it to an entirely new level this year.
That is the truth. Mine is probably also the Costco guys.
Steve gives their gimmick a boom.
I give their gimmick a boom, and I can't wait for my watch along, my solo watch along over at Wrestle Juice. How long do you think they're going to give that match? 30 minutes? 40 minutes?
Wasn't AJ's his name, right? Didn't he used to be a wrestler?
Yeah, he was a wrestler on the indie circuit.
Yeah. So, I mean, if his cardio's good, they can give it time.
10? You think you're going to give it 10?
Yeah, 10
sounds right. 10 sounds
right.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying worst gimmick is Shawn Spears.
Worst dressed is Shawn Spears. That should be one of the Friendo Awards. Worst dressed. The Shawn Spears Award. Oh, why at 6? That's a good gimmick.
Best. Yeah,
that's a really good gimmick.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's a good one. Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 said that one. Yeah.
All right, you got any more questions?
I got no more questions. I got one person who said I didn't like this premium live event. Art, I think.
Was it phrased as a question?
Nope. Not it. Well, I don't know. There was no punctuation.
Oh, all right.
I didn't like this premium live event. You tell me.
I don't know. All right. We can be done then.
All right, we can be done then. You can go take your chili nap. I'm going to go to Wrestle Juice and do stuff there. And then tomorrow, you and I are going to do the star ratings, right?
We are.
Ooh, exciting. All right, so be sure to sub over to the Friendo Club Wrestling channel for our star ratings. And until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.